guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jennifer. I am 46 years old. I have been doing the WW plans since September 2019. I know that a lot of y'all that follow me already know that, but for anybody that is new here, I just wanted to let you know that I also had weight loss surgery back in 2012 and started WW in September 2019 after I gained back part of the weight that I had lost. So that's what this video is going to be about. It is also going to be a get ready with me. We're going to do my makeup, I'm going to do my hair and everything, and hopefully you enjoy it and I can get ready and get this video done all at the same time, because y'all know I never have enough time for anything, so we are going to try to multitask, and that is one thing that I think I'm good at. I'm not sure. I do it a lot, but anywho, that's what is on the agenda for the day is weight loss surgery questions that I'm going to answer. I got a few questions, but mostly I'm just going to tell you about what I went through with it and, you know, whether or not I would do it again. So if that's something that you are interested in, stay tuned for the video. And if you are new here, go ahead and click that subscribe button down below. If you like this video, hit that like button as well, and follow me over on Instagram. I'm going to leave my Instagram handle for you here. And then I also have a Facebook group. It's a great group. I highly suggest you join it. This is the Facebook group. It's called Finding Our Way, WEIGH, and then I have a direct link down in my description box to that Facebook group as well. Also, I have put out a weight loss journey story before a long time ago when I first started my channel. I will have that link down in the description box as well, because I'm not going to go back through my whole childhood journey and everything. That's all kind of in that video. We're just going to pick up with kind of how I got to the point of weight loss surgery and go from there. So anyway, without further ado, let's just jump right into the video. Okay, we are going to get ready to put my makeup on and get into this weight loss surgery topic of the day. Of course, all of the cats are in here. You will see them behind me and everything. I just wanted to show you my little vanity set, which my desk is kind of dirty and definitely needs to be wiped off from makeup, but I just keep all of my makeup in this thing. I am going to move it over to the side because I'm going to have to put my camera up there. I'm going to put some books and just set my camera up, but this is what we're working with today. So anyway, as you can see, we already have a fight going on back here, thankfully. Y'all gonna be good? You're not. Really? Y'all have to act up. So anyway, I have a few books here. We're gonna stack them up here, set up the camera, and let's get this makeup on and get into this topic. Okay guys, hopefully I finally have my camera set up correctly. This is a very difficult setup, and I am going to be looking here towards the mirror because otherwise I cannot see well enough to see in the little viewfinder thing, if you can't tell. But I don't wear glasses or anything, but it is hard for me. I cannot put my makeup on in this tiny little screen. I have to have my big mirror here. So anyway, we will kind of be looking back and forth. I'll kind of tell you the products and stuff that I'm using, but our main goal today is to talk about my experience with weight loss surgery. So I have had several people ask me about it. I have been open about it on my channel, and I do have a whole weight loss video from back when I first started my channel that I kind of talked about my whole childhood growing up through weight loss surgery and to joining Weight Watchers. So I will have that link down in the description box below if you want to go back and see all of that, because I'm not going to go back through all of that. We are just going to start at the point of weight loss surgery and kind of how I got there, and then my thoughts on the process and, you know, whether or not I would do it again, whether or not I would recommend it for you or whatever. So I am not a physician. This is just my personal experience. I just want to put that disclaimer out there. I'm not telling anybody they should or should not go have weight loss surgery. So this is just my opinion for what it's worth. I have been through it almost 10 years ago. I guess 9 years exactly. 2012 was whenever I had my surgery. And, you know, I lost a lot of weight on it. Went through depression, gained some weight, and then joined Weight Watchers, and now, you know, I just want to discuss kind of that whole process. So we're just going to get right into it. I'm going to probably have to change my battery in the middle of this. So whenever I do my makeup, first of all, I always put my little towel down, because, not because I'm super messy, but because I'm a little messy, I guess. But I've already moisturized my face. I just got out of the shower. My hair is wet. We will dry my hair and stuff. I have had a question on showing how I do my hair, so I'll take y'all in there and show y'all. And my hair is probably the fastest thing that I do every day. Like I said before, I have that other weight loss surgery video, not weight loss surgery, my weight loss story video out there, and so I'm not going to go back into that, but just to give a little bit of backstory, I was always overweight my whole life, yada yada yada. I've been on every diet known to man. Gained and lost weight over the years, and got up to my heaviest back in probably 2000. I don't know really how long I was as heavy as I was, but the heaviest weight that I really know is 240, and it actually could have been a little bit higher than that. So probably in 2010 or so is when I was around that weight, even though I didn't have my surgery until 2012. You know, it's not a decision that you can make overnight. It's a process. It's a long process. And I get a lot of people that's very interested in having weight loss surgery and ask me about it all the time. And is it for everybody? No. Is it for some people? Yes. Would I do it again? I'll answer that at the end of the video. But I'm opening up a new foundation. I always use the Estee Lauder Double Wear. This is the Ivory Beige. And anyway, my other one is like empty. You can't tell because there might be like a few drops in there. But we're going to go ahead and open up a new one today. So how did I even get to having weight loss surgery? You know, I had done every diet. I had failed every time. And honestly, I was just sick and tired of being sick and tired. I mean, I was tired of it. I was tired of going, you know, I'm not one of those people that actually has to be hungry to want to eat. You know, I could consume a lot of food. Okay, sorry, Charlie interrupted me. So like I was saying, I'm not one of those people that has to be hungry to eat. I could, back then, just eat and eat and eat. And, you know, eat to the point of wanting to throw up. And then an hour or two later, I could eat some more. I mean, it just didn't really matter. I always wanted to eat until I was super, super full. And I'm not even sure how I really got into discovering the weight loss surgery. I mean, I worked at a medical clinic at the time, but none of our physicians there actually performed the surgery whenever I had it done. The physician that did do it did work at our clinic at one point, but he had left and was kind of out on his own. So I did kind of know him a little bit and felt comfortable with him. And, you know, I would highly recommend going to somebody that is a certified bariatric surgeon or center or whatever. You know, there's different criteria that you have to meet. Now, I went through the whole process. You know, I went to a meeting and somebody talked about, you know, their process with it. The doctor wasn't there, which didn't really bother me because I already knew him. Some people go there and can actually meet the doctors at those meetings. I think now they probably do them online. But again, this was back in 2012. And, you know, I just felt like it was the thing that I had to do for myself. I didn't tell anybody that I was having it done. And the main reason that I didn't tell anybody that I was having it done is because I was so afraid that I would fail at that too. I mean, I felt like everything that I ever did, weight loss wise, I was a failure. And, you know, I felt like this was like my last chance at maybe getting rid of the weight. And I am going to pop up some pictures throughout this too, so that you can see what I look like. And I know that a lot of y'all have seen some of these pictures from my face-to-face Fridays and stuff like that. You know, a lot of the before pictures are before weight loss surgery. But the reason I like to show those is just to show you that there is hope. You know, don't give up. Like, I felt hopeless, to be honest. And so that's what made me decide to check into weight loss surgery. And so, yeah, my BMI was probably over 40 at the time. I'm not sure, but your BMI has to be over 30, but I'm pretty sure mine was 40 or close to it. So I went to my meeting, and then I found out that my insurance didn't cover it. So I was going to have to be self-pay. And my doctor in the town where I live performed the surgeries at the hospital here, which was more expensive. It would have cost me like $18,000, I think. But if I went to, which is actually my hometown, a smaller town, 30 minutes away, then it only cost me $12,000 out of pocket. And he took his same anesthetist with him, and everything, you know, was the same. It was just in a different facility. That's why it was cheaper in a different town. So that's what I did. So I paid $12,000 in 2012 for my weight loss surgery. And the day before my surgery, I finally told my sister about it, which I think is funny because I was so secretive about it. I didn't tell anybody at work. I just took a week off work, you know, like I was taking a vacation or something. And I was getting ready to start a class. I think I had my surgery on like a Thursday or something. And I had a class that I was taking, ironically, I think it was a nutrition class, for some electives to try to finish up my hours at school. I was going for my 150 hours, even though I never became a CPA, but you have to have 150 hours. But anyhow, I already had my degree at that point. I had just went back to get some additional hours. And so that following Monday after surgery, I had my first class. So I didn't really know how that was going to go over. But anywho, here we are. And so I'm having my surgery on this Thursday. Charlie was super worried about it. You know, Charlie is not as comfortable with surgeries and medical stuff like I am. And I think that I just became more comfortable with it after working at the clinic that I worked at and knowing all of the doctors and stuff. And so I'm not afraid of surgery at all, to be honest. I mean, some I think are scarier surgeries than others. It just depends. But something like this was not. So somebody asked what surgery did I have exactly. So I had the gastric sleeve or vertical sleeve. I don't know if they call it something different now or not. But anyway, I just always call it the sleeve. And so that's just where they go in and they basically just cut off most of your stomach and leave you with like a little piece. And so therefore you can not consume as much food. The process leading up to the surgery, which my surgery, once I found out that insurance didn't cover it, I didn't like have to go through 6 months of trying to be on a diet or whatever. What they made me do was be on a diet for 2 weeks under the guidance of their nutritionist that they had on staff there, to see if I could lose weight. So I did that for 2 weeks. I lost a few pounds, not a lot, but you know, they wanted to see that I could lose weight. And so then at that point, I'm 2 weeks prior to surgery. And so then you have to go on a liquid diet for 2 weeks and mostly drink protein shakes. Now, that's one reason that I like to use a lot of protein powders and stuff, because going through the weight loss surgery I never really knew that much about protein shakes before. I never bought like one of those big tubs of protein powders. But I discovered like the Matrix brand, because they actually sold like some of the flavors in the office there. And then I found them on Amazon and stuff and would just order on Amazon because they were cheaper. And I do like that Matrix brand because a lot of them are really sweet, and I like sweet stuff. Like I like my coffee sweet and everything. So if you're looking for a high quality sweet protein powder, I highly recommend those. Even the vanilla, it's really good. It's really sweet. And I actually may order some of that. That's kind of how I got into different protein powders and your own shakes for a long time. And I still drink a shake pretty much every day, but I just use those Premier Protein shakes primarily. And then I just use the others to cook with if I want to make low calorie, low point treats or whatever. So I went through a 2-week diet, and then I did a 2-week liquids only, and so I could have protein shakes and like chicken broth, things like that. And that was kind of tough to get through. In my position at the time that I was at the clinic, we had like a board retreat, and I had to go to that over the weekend. That was hard. I probably ate a couple of bites of food that I shouldn't have. I was super scared of messing up my surgery. But the main reason for the liquid diet is to basically get like all of the fat out of your liver. So if you ever want to do like a really good detox, I would say that would probably be a good way to detox your body, is just to drink protein shakes and chicken broth and stuff like that. Just kind of be on a liquid diet for a few days, and it really does help detox your body. I would not suggest any of these detox things that they have out there. My battery's going to die. I'm going to switch it real quick. Okay, we are back with a new battery. So anywho, so I did all of that, and I had my surgery, and it went well. It was fine. It was laparoscopically. So basically they just did like the little holes in your stomach and take out part of your stomach that way. So the recovery was super easy. I had no problems. I basically laid around that whole weekend, and I went to my class that next Monday night. And I remember feeling a little weird about it because I just had surgery. But the recovery overall was a breeze. If you've ever had anything laparoscopically done, in my opinion, that's what it's similar to. Now, whenever I woke up from surgery, it is shocking because you think that you're going to wake up and you're still going to be able to eat and drink and stuff like that. And one little teaspoon of a liquid filled me up, which was something that was really weird to me. And so that's kind of how it works. But, you know, you have to stay on liquids for a couple of weeks, and then you can slowly start introducing like soft foods like yogurt and cottage cheese and stuff like that. And so that's kind of a process afterwards. So a lot of people think that having weight loss surgery is taking the easy way out, but in my opinion, it is going all in. And it's not something to really be taken lightly because it does affect your body. It does affect your mental health a little bit. You really have to be mentally prepared. They do make you have like a psychiatric evaluation, all of these things, but it is going all in. And that's one reason that I don't recommend it for everybody. If you're truly not willing to change or, you know, change your eating habits, then I don't think that it is for you. If you think that just going in and having part of your stomach removed and then, oh, well, I can just eat less of the same foods, that's not necessarily true, because over time your stomach does expand. So after I had my surgery, I didn't really have any issues until probably about, and I just mainly, they want you to eat low carb. They want you to always eat your protein first. You're not supposed to drink while you eat. I do always have water whenever I eat. You're not supposed to drink out of a straw. I do drink out of a straw. Y'all see me drink out of a straw all the time. You're not supposed to drink carbonated beverages like Diet Cokes and stuff. I do not drink Diet Cokes. That's how I got on my Crystal Light. And occasionally I will have like a beer or something like that, but that is very occasionally. I really don't, you know, drink any carbonated drinks like these carbonated waters and seltzers and stuff like that that's out. I really avoid those at all costs. I mean, I might drink like a Truly hard seltzer or a White Claw or something here and there, but I really don't even like those. So anyway, there's just different little things like that, and they want you to eat your protein first, and then you know, you can add in like your vegetables or whatever. I don't necessarily do that now. Obviously, I do Weight Watchers. It's been a long time since I've had my surgery, but in the beginning, that's what I did. I did low carb, and I did that for 5 years, I guess. Pretty much kept it off. I lost 90 pounds. It took me well over a year to lose that 90 pounds, and I followed all of the rules except for the straw rule. I do like to drink out of a straw. And, you know, health-wise, I would say the thing that it has affected the most, other than me losing weight and being a normal BMI and all of that stuff, I do think that it depleted some of my vitamins and nutrients and stuff in my body. And so after about 9 months of having the surgery, I was somewhere with one of my daughters out of town, and she was young, she was not driving yet, and my foot went to sleep because I was sitting in a position with my leg crossed for a long time, and all of a sudden I realized that my foot had went to sleep. And I mean, it was like I was walking like Frankenstein, and we were like at this little mall or whatever, and I was like, I've got to walk around for a little while and see if I can get my foot to wake up. Well, it never really did, and I drove home. I was really scared. It was my right foot too, and it took days for the feeling to really come back into my foot. And so I asked one of the doctors that I work with at the clinic. I didn't call the office where I had the surgery, but that doctor was like, well, it sounds like you're low on your B12. And I was. And so I guess it takes out the part of your stomach that can naturally absorb B12. So ever since then, I always make sure that I take B12, and I have to take it under the tongue. So that's one thing. I have to take like a multivitamin. I always take my B12. I have to take a omeprazole pretty much every day. Otherwise, I have like that acid reflux feeling. Sometimes my throat will just burn just from drinking water. If I skip that, I just take like the cheap brand that I can pick up at Sam's Club. Things like that. I would say that overall, is it worth it? Yes. 100% it was worth it to me, and yes, I would definitely have the surgery again. It changed me, it changed my life, it changed my perspective on food. I feel like it's not for everybody. Like I said, if you truly think that it's just a magic fix, it is not. It is a lot of work. It is going all in, and you really need to have the right mindset to go in and have the surgery done and then come out and still try to be successful. You're still going to have to be on a diet pretty much every day for the rest of your life. Watch what you eat. There is a honeymoon phase, and that honeymoon phase, I would say, is like the first year to 2 years where you're pretty much going to lose weight no matter what you do, because you can consume very little food. But you notice like each day or each week that you can consume a little bit more and a little bit more. So now I feel like I can eat what I consider to be like normal portions, if that makes sense. And so then 2016, 2017 hit, and I went through a really bad period in my life. I mean, I pretty much just had a complete nervous breakdown, and I had to step away from my job. I could not mentally function. And so I just didn't work for a few months and was just in a really bad place and depressed, and I still couldn't eat that much food, but I ended up eating all of the wrong foods, if that makes sense. I went back to my old ways of eating fast food and ordering pizza and all of this stuff that you should not do. And that's how I gained weight. And before I knew it, I had been, and so I got down, I would say, to like 150-ish. And I held my weight around that 150 to 155 range. I did have a tummy tuck and breast implants put in because I lost all of my boobs after I lost all of the weight, and then I had all of the saggy skin on my lower stomach, and so I had that done as well. That is a much harder recovery, by the way, than the weight loss surgery, just because the tummy tuck, which is 100% worth it, I will say. I do like the way that my stomach looks, especially compared to the way that it looked before. But they do sew your abs together, and so you're super sore, from that. I was never in any pain with either of my surgeries. I took my pain medicine like I was supposed to for a few days, and otherwise it was just being sore. But I don't really consider being sore being in pain. I've had a lot of kidney stones. That's painful. But anyway, so yeah, I had the tummy tuck and everything done, and I was around 150, 55 pounds, something like that. And I was, rocking along doing good until, like I said, I wasn't. Until I went through my bad stage, and it took me a long time to get over that. For at least a full year, I was 100% depressed and, didn't even care if I lived or died. In fact, I was pissed off every day that I woke up. I just was at a point in my life to where I just did not want to go on, and I'm not really going to get into all of that, but I mean, that's really how far down I got. It was hard for me to even put one foot in front of the other. It was hard for me to function. It was hard for me to get out of bed. It was hard for me to, everything I literally had to force myself to do, to get up off the couch to go pee, if that makes any sense. And so did I care what I was eating? No, not really. It was comforting to eat some comfort food, and I knew that I was gaining weight, and I knew that every bite that I put in my mouth that was wrong was going to make me gain weight, and I hated myself for it, which also contributed even more to the depression. So it's like this vicious cycle. And so probably late 2018, 2019, early 2019 is kind of when I started trying to pull myself really out of it, if that makes sense, and kind of get my life back together. Probably the summer of 2019, it was just like I look like crap and all of my bathing suits and stuff like that. Yeah, I know we have a pool, and I just felt like crap, and I was like, what have I done? I have sat here, I have let myself gain this damn weight, and now I'm going to have to lose it again. I didn't really want to go back on a low-carb diet, to be honest, because I did feel better eating a variety of foods. And so that's what brought me to Weight Watchers. And I really thought about it a lot. I thought about just tracking macros. I've done that before. I've worked with a nutritionist before and tracked macros. So anyway, I started Weight Watchers in September of 2019, and my initial goal was really just to get down to like 160 pounds, and when I started Weight Watchers, I weighed 212. So I had jumped from about 155 up to 212. I don't know what that math is off the top of my head, but 55, 60 pounds, something like that. And so I didn't gain all of my weight back, thank God. But I specifically wanted to lose the weight very slowly because I had paid for that tummy tuck, and I wanted to avoid having loose, saggy skin, which is one thing that happens with weight loss surgery because you lose it so quickly, especially somebody like myself whose weight had went up and down. I mean, I have lost thousands of pounds over the years because my weight has went up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. And anyway, so that's why I decided just to do Weight Watchers, because I knew that it was a slow process, a slow losing process. I need to be getting my makeup on. And so I joined Weight Watchers in September 2019, and it was slow to even get started losing. It was slow to kind of get into the routine and stuff that I'm in now. That's one reason I try to tell everybody just to be consistent, and eventually, you will get there, you will figure it out. And so I just decided to stick it out and figure out what works for me, and I think that I did. And that's also, how I started meal prepping. Like I said before in the beginning, I would just make food for myself, and Charlie wasn't really eating it, because before, like when the kids were home and everything and I was on a diet, I always ate something separate. You know what I'm saying? It was like they had their food. They were eating spaghetti or pizza or whatever it was that they were all eating, and then I had my food over here, which is a very difficult situation to be in. But I had grown accustomed to it over the years. So once I started doing Weight Watchers, I was just prepping myself these foods, and decided to start prepping myself some dinners. And Charlie was like, well, what am I going to eat? And I was like, well, it's just food. I mean, I can make this food for you too. I didn't think that he wanted it, because he's never, ever, ever, ever had to be on a diet in his entire life. He's one of those people. So he was like, okay, sure. And I mean, he likes the food. Y'all see he eats it. He gets all the excess food if I make too much. But anyway, that's kind of how we fell into our routine. And then that's what led me to start a YouTube channel. If I could go back in time, I would have started a YouTube channel back in 2012 whenever I first had my surgery and documented that whole process. I really wish that I had all that footage. I remember watching people back then that were documenting their process and really thought how cool that was, but I never thought that I could be somebody that could do that. But anyway, back to the actual surgery itself. I did have a couple of questions. I didn't get a lot of questions. Let me see here. I might have already answered what I did get. So one question was, what was the tipping point? And I think I did kind of answer that. Basically I was sick and tired of being sick and tired because I felt horrible. I was fat. I was overweight. I was low energy. I didn't want to do anything. My weight would just bounce up and down. I would diet for a week. I would binge for a week. I would diet for a week, and then I would go off of it. I would start over again on Monday. I would go off of it. So that was the tipping point. I just felt like I needed something. I had tried literally everything. Even weight loss pills or whatever, or diet pills, those didn't even help me. I don't have to be hungry to want to eat, so that was really a waste too. Somebody said, did you have the sleeve or the gastric bypass? So I did answer that. I did have the sleeve. The gastric bypass is like another step. So like if I wanted to, let's just say that I never lost the weight that I put back on, I could go back in and actually pay additional money and have the bypass done. It's like the sleeve is the first step of the bypass. But the sleeve kind of came about because sometimes they would have to stop and couldn't go further with the surgery, and then realized that people were losing weight just from having that portion of the surgery done. So that's kind of how it became an individual surgery itself. and is there any food that I can't tolerate now? So there's not necessarily any food that I can't tolerate, but some foods are harder on my stomach than others. So like lettuce, for example, which I do eat lettuce on my sandwiches and stuff, but like that one week that I made salads and took every day to lunch, that really hurt my stomach that week. Oh, my stomach was tore up, y'all. And I didn't think that it was ever going to go back to normal. To be honest, I felt like just so horrible and bloated, and it was just like I could not get off the toilet. So real, like, I guess those real leafy greens and stuff like that is something that's harder for me to tolerate. I really haven't found anything else other than lettuce, to be honest, that's kind of been hard on my stomach. Now, another side effect or thing that happens that a lot of people don't know is like your stomach kind of makes like these gurgling noises in your throat sometimes. So that's something, and it's kind of funny, especially it does it like at the worst times possible too. I mean, like you're in a quiet room or you're talking to somebody one-on-one, you're in a job interview or something, and that's when your stomach's going to decide that it's going to make this funky gurgling noise, which is kind of funny. In the end, did I have a lot of extra skin removed? Like I said, I did have the tummy tuck done, and I had the breast implants, and I'm 100% glad that I had that done. But just to kind of wrap up the conversation on the surgery itself, of course, like I said before, I'm not a doctor, and you need to talk to your physicians about it. One thing that I think is very important is to monitor your blood work. You do just lose vitamins and nutrients. Some people go through like a big shedding phase and lose a lot of hair. I did go through a shedding phase. I wouldn't say that it was horrible. I actually went through a worse shedding phase after I had my kids. My hair used to be super thick, and then it kind of got thin, and then it thickened back up a little bit, and then I went through like a slight shedding phase. One thing I was always really good about was getting all of my protein in. That's one reason I try to tell people, make sure that you are getting your protein in. I do think that protein is the most important macronutrient over all of them. So I've always tried to keep my protein high. If you notice, I pretty much eat all protein and fat really for my breakfast. I don't really start eating any carbs until about lunchtime. I do enjoy doing Weight Watchers. I missed fruit. I feel like since my body lacks in certain nutrients and stuff, that it is important for me at my age now, which I'm 46 now. So I was, 36, 37 whenever I had the surgery. I guess I was 37 if it was 2012. And so, it's not something to be taken lightly. It is a big decision. It is something that I'm glad that I did and that I would 100% do again. Because like I said, it changed my life. It changed my outlook on food. I don't know. It is worth it. Is it for everyone? No. So that's something that would have to be determined by you and your physician. A lot more insurance companies are covering it now, which is a good thing than they were back in 2012. It was more of a neurosurgery then, and a lot of insurance companies didn't cover it, but a lot of them do now. But, there is something to be said for being self-pay because it doesn't take as long, and you can kind of get pushed to the front of the line, if that makes sense, because a lot of insurance companies require like 6 months of a supervised diet and all of this stuff. And then a lot of people end up trying to qualify for the surgery, and then they end up losing so much weight, and then they decide that they don't need the surgery. So that's a good thing as well. I would, suggest not having surgery if you don't need surgery. I felt like I really needed it, and it was, like a last resort option for me. People, there are people, like I said, that end up finding out that they can actually do it on their own. I was not one of those people, nor did I have to diet for that long to even find out if I could do all of that on my own. But I do feel like it is a tool to use, and I say that a lot, and it's kind of hard for people to understand what that means if you've never had the surgery. But again, no. Mama's trying to film. Sorry. Maya's trying to get up here. She loves to sit up here while I put my makeup on, y'all. But anyway, it is a tool to use that helps aid, and it's a tool that you can also not use. So like I said, you can kind of eat all of the wrong foods. You can really still kind of push and force yourself to eat more food than you should. I do have certain warning signs. It's like my nose will start running. It is a tool to use, or it is a tool that you can abuse and not use. And you just kind of have to learn what works for you and what you can and can't eat. And I am happy doing Weight Watchers along with having had the sleeve because I do think that helps me with my portion control. I think portion control is probably the biggest thing that most people struggle with, is knowing, what is a proper portion. But I did learn through the weight loss surgery journey that people really eat a lot more food than they need to survive, because you're eating so little for so long after your weight loss surgery. You're thinking, wow, man, was I really eating a lot of food? Hopefully this video turns out well, and hopefully it helps some people. I don't know if I really went into too much detail or not enough detail on some things. There's not a whole lot to say about it. I mean, it is what it is. I would just suggest, if it's something that you're considering, it's a long process. It's not something that you can just wait and decide that you're going to have in 2 weeks. You got to start soon. You got to start the doctor's visits. Yeah, it's something that you have to go ahead and start that process. It is a long process, especially if you're going to try to have your insurance company pay for it. And even if you're not, it is still a process. There are still certain steps that you have to take, and the liquid diets and stuff like that. Occasionally I have done like the liquid diet afterwards, just to give myself a little boost, a little restart. But since I started doing Weight Watchers, I have not done that. One thing that I have tried to do in doing Weight Watchers is eat the most food that I can and keep my calories high, to keep my metabolism working, to keep myself going to where, I'm still losing small amounts of weight at a slow speed, but still eating the highest volume of food that I can and still lose weight, which I know might sound weird because most people want a quick fix. And there really is no quick fix. And I learned that through going through the weight loss surgery. It really is just a long process. It takes a lot of consistency. It takes a lot of discipline. When I stopped on my discipline and really just let myself go, that's one reason once I committed to doing the Weight Watchers, I really committed to it. It took me a few weeks to really get into it and to kind of get into my groove. But then once I did and saw that it could work and how much better I was feeling, then, I committed 100%. And I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. I don't do everything correctly. I may not count everything correctly. I may not cook everything correctly. I may not eat everything that I should or whatever, but I do try to improve myself every day. The reason I started this channel was really just to help you guys, and just to kind of show how I prep for the week and, a little bit of our life. I've discovered that I love vlogging in this channel and all of that good stuff. But this video specifically is just about my weight loss surgery. And so we are going to, I guess, end it there. I would 100% do it again. And I think that it is worth it if you qualify for it, and if you don't have any physical conditions that limit you from having that weight loss surgery. Because like I said, it was life-changing. It's something that I'm happy that I had, and I would do it over again 10 times, because I personally didn't have a whole lot of issues with it. The only issue really is probably the nutrients and the vitamins and stuff, and that's one reason that I am really strict on taking my vitamins. Some people ask me to talk about my supplements, so I do the B12, I do the omeprazole, I always take a multivitamin every day, I take a probiotic every day, I take vitamin D3 with calcium and magnesium, like that Nature's Valley. You can find it at Walgreens or whatever, those big containers. I take one of those in the morning, I take one of those at night. I take glucosamine, but I really take that more for my joints and for my bad neck and stuff that I have. What else do I take? I feel like I take a lot of stuff. And then, of course, one issue too that I've always had is digestive issues. probably even pre-surgery, but especially post-surgery, and going to the bathroom, you know, and pooping and stuff like that. And so that's one reason, like, I wanted to try the TEAMI greens and the gut love and stuff like that and things like that. I have to kind of keep my system going, if that makes sense. Might be TMI, but it is what it is. So yeah, it's not perfect. It's not a quick fix. It's not for everybody. It could be for you. But I would just suggest doing your research, you know, check out doctors, see what's available, see what's out there, see what your insurance company will cover, if they do cover it. And yeah, if you decide to do it, let me know. And yeah, if you have any other questions, then you can let me know down in the comments. I will be happy to answer any questions. I did ask for questions prior to doing the video because I have had people randomly ask questions about it here and there, but then I didn't get that many once I posted that. So yeah, if you have any more questions, leave them down in the comments. We're going to go in here right now and I'm going to dry my hair because today is Saturday and I am also getting ready to film my grocery haul. Charlie went to pick the groceries up, so I need to get my hair dry so that I can get that video started as well. So let's go in the bathroom. Okay guys, so we are in the bathroom and I am pretty basic on my hair. I just took my clip down. It hadn't come down yet. And I am one of those that just likes to do my hair very last. I know a lot of people do their hair first before putting their makeup on, but y'all know I'm different. I just use a plain old basic Revlon hair dryer. And this is one I love. I get it off of Amazon because I usually have to order a new one every year. And I have this Absolute Heat flat iron that I picked up at TJ Maxx, I think for less than $20, and a hairbrush that has hair in it. But that's what I'm going to do. And fun fact, I dry my hair upside down, which is kind of an old school thing to do, but that's what we're going to do. We're going to dry our hair upside down and then we're just going to flat iron it real quick. I don't know how well I'm going to be able to show the flat iron, but we'll see, because I've got you on my little short camera here. Charlie had the big camera upstairs. He was filming a video. So anyway, let's see what we can get done. Let's dry our hair. Alright guys, hair's just dry as it's going to get. That took me 5 minutes to dry my hair. I know some people spend like 30 or 40 minutes to dry their hair brushing it out, and if I did it that way it probably would, but flipping it upside down, since my hair is on the finer side now, I do feel like it gives it a little bit more volume. So anyway, now we're just going to flat iron. I'm going to see if I can step back to where you can see me. My cords are tangled. I'm like really bad with cords. That's why I end up having to get a new hair dryer pretty much every year. But yeah, I just quickly go through and kind of do a quick flat iron. Let me get my hair straightened out here. I'm not one of those to where it has to be like super slick. I actually like to kind of scrunch it up with my hands once I'm done to where it just has a little bit more body. My hair really is naturally straight, but you know, this just helps get out a little bit of the waviness that could be in there, especially from being up in the clip. And yes, I clip my hair up like that. Actually, I have 2 of those clips. I keep one in my shower, and after I put my conditioner on my hair, I clip my hair up because I do have a tendency for my skin to break out like on my back and stuff, and I feel like that helps keep that conditioner up off of the back of my neck. And then once I rinse my hair out in the shower, I clip my hair back up, and then when I get out, I will, you know, kind of towel dry it just for a quick second. I go ahead and pick my hair out, and then I put in like I don't know if it's herbal essences or what kind of little oil it is. Let's see, it's right here. Garnier Fructis. I just use this stuff. It's cheap, like $5 or $6. And then I do some of the Chi volumizing spray just kind of on the crown of my head. And then I go ahead and pull my hair up in the clip and just leave it that way until I come in here to dry it. But, and that right there is about all that I'm going to flat iron it. In the mornings, whenever I'm getting ready for work, y'all, it's usually 7:40 when I get in here to start drying my hair. That's one reason it's always like 10 till when I'm running out the door, just so you know. But once I kind of get it done like this, I'm going to kind of crouch down here, like to tease just this little part of my hair up here. And then I just kind of brush it back. And oh, I am a hairspray wearer. I like hairspray, or else my hair will really be way flat. So that's kind of all that I do. Hopefully y'all could see that. I'm not sure, but you know, I wanted to have a little bit of body in it. Not too much, not too crazy. We're actually going to get in the swimming pool later, so I'm going to pull it up after doing all of this. But I like this Joico hairspray, and this is the Joy Mist Firm. And they just changed the color of the bottles. They used to just be all silver, but I don't know if they've changed the formula or not, but it still seems to be working about the same. So that's what we got. This is my hair. This is my look for the day till I put on my bathing suit. We're gonna go in here and film a grocery haul real quick. I hear Charlie, he is back with the groceries. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and close this video out right here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that it was helpful. Please let me know down in the comments if you have any more questions about weight loss surgery or anything. I will be more than happy to answer them. Again, just another disclaimer that I'm in no way certified, qualified, or anything to tell anybody what to do, nor is that what I am trying to do. You always need to check with your physicians before you embark on a weight loss surgery journey or anything like that, or any weight loss program or anything. You know, I'm just sharing what I do and hopefully giving y'all some ideas and stuff. I love you guys, and if you haven't already, subscribe, like, follow me on Instagram, do all of the things, and I will see you in the next video.